That's actually a really good way to sort of, I should probably slow that down and explain it a little bit better. So I'm going to do that for you. What's up, and a very sleepy hello to all of you in the other land that is the internet. Mark with Cardivox Academy here. And today, I think for the first time, we're going to be talking about Randy Blythe and Lamb of God. I don't think we've ever talked about Randy Blythe on the channel here, so it's pretty exciting that we're going to do that. Now, today, I believe earlier today, Lamb of God dropped a studio session of their song Vanishing, which I'm very excited about because it's Lamb of God and they're cool. And I'm glad they're still around making music because they've been around for a long time. And I feel like they don't usually miss. I feel like their music's usually a pretty good bop. So we're going to check it out here. Now, a couple pieces of housekeeping you're welcome to skip, but if you stick around, you'll learn more. So that's the thing. First and foremost, I'm exhausted. As many of you know, we have a newborn little baby here at the house. His name is Evan, and he is 3 weeks old as of today. And his favorite hobby is not letting his mom and I sleep. So I'm being lazy. I'm sitting down today, y'all. I'm sitting down. I'm taking it slow. I'm relaxing because I'm pretty tired. Now, that aside, we love him. We love him despite his fussiness, especially in this approaching this third week. Whew, it's been a task. You know, if there are any parents out there, he's a really good baby. Like he's very easy to handle. But if there are any parents who just want to throw their advice in the comments below, this is our first, and we don't know what we're doing. I am open to hearing it, but. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mark. I am a metal vocalist myself. I'm in a band called Kardashev. We're on Metal Blade. We've got a couple releases. Feel free to check it out. I'm also a vocal coach. Specifically, I focus on, or I should say, mostly I focus on harsh vocals. That's what I teach full time. You know, teaching people how to go safely and efficiently in a way that they don't hurt themselves so they can have long-lasting fun careers over the course of their lives. And what we do here on the channel is we take the reaction format, we break it down, we have a lot of fun talking about vocal technique, and I tell you what the vocalist is doing, or, you know, if I'm not so sure, or if I would approach it in a different way, I'll show you the way that I would approximate that, because I know a lot, but I don't know everything. If you like the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to see the channel grow, and I love seeing the conversation in the bottom. By the way, I don't have a Telegram. If you see a comment saying like, hey, you've been picked, I don't even know what that means, message me on Telegram. I'm not on Telegram. If I message you on Telegram, it's a scam. You will never see me on Telegram ever, just because, I don't know, you won't. So keep that in mind. If you really like the content, come hang out with us on Discord, which you can access through our Patreon. We have Friday listening parties. We have karaoke events. I believe we have a karaoke event this Sunday, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be singing Dragula, Unholy, and a couple others. I'm not sure. But be sure to check it out. Okay, that's enough of that. I think without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's check out the studio session of Vanishing by Lamb of God. Here we go. Okay. Whoa, I paused it. Whoa, I was grabbing my mouse to pause it, and I guess I hit a key that pauses it. Awesome. That was good luck. So let's go ahead and talk. We've already got a lot of things we can talk about. So one thing that I really like about Randy Blythe is his ability to both sit in the pocket, right? He's got his tone and he stays there a lot. Not always. He's got his tone and he stays there a lot, but he's able to deviate from it super easily. When I think about Randy Blythe, one of the main things I think about is his ability to slide into those very iconic, very signature high screams that he has. They're very cool, and quite honestly, not a lot of people sound like him. Now, I've talked with people, I've hung out with people, and, you know, approaching his vocal style, I've seen people do it with fry screams. Sorry, I've got like a little whisker that's just poking me in the nose. I've seen people approach it with fry screams. I've seen people approach it with false chord screams. There are many ways to approximate this sound. And again, Randy's one of those people who has a very unique sounding voice. It's a mixture of his airflow, um, his activation in the pharyngeal space, his mouth shape, and then of course just the shape of his body, right? We're all going to resonate a little bit differently. But if I was to go about just like his sort of mid-tone, bear in mind I'm not going to sound exactly like him. This is just how I would approximate it if I was in the studio. I would probably go about it as from a false chord bass, because if anybody's been on this channel before, they know that that's 99.9% what I do because I'm lazy. It's just it's just my comfort spot, right? I teach a lot of people how to do fry screams. They all do them very, very well. But my comfort zone, my pocket is false chord screaming pretty much. Now, with that being said, there are a couple things that I would do. I would take my baseline false chord sound, which is not going to sound like this at all, right? And I would think about sort of, if you've been on the channel before, you've seen me talk about Kermit the Frog to sort of get like this sound, rather than taking that and moving it back, right? I would think about almost like doing a pseudo vomit sound, right? And what that's going to do is that's going to take the tongue, that's going to pull it back ever so slightly, not back and down, just back and activated. And that's going to kind of open up the pharyngeal space, the soft palate. Let me check. Yeah, the soft palate's going to raise up. So rather than having like this sort of back and down sensation, I'm going to imagine this sensation coming back and up. Right? Now that sounds really goofy, but listen to what happens if I move my false chord through that space, right? So here's just like the baseline false chord. Move it back. Face down to the wall. That's kind of how I would go about approximating this. Now, he's got a really cool onset. He does a voiced onset on a lot of his screams, which is not necessarily uncommon. A lot of vocalists who do it, though, they do it starting in like their head voice. They have like this before they land on the scream. You can hear that. He does it at least, I don't want to speak across his whole career, but just in this song so far, he's doing it a lot more chesty. Right, which is a cool sound. Let's keep going. There's plenty we could talk about, but of course we have a song to listen to. But studio sessions are so cool. I love uploads of studio sessions. Let's keep going here. Whoop. One interesting, sounds like I paused it before a really big moment. Sorry, everybody. Actually, I'm not sorry at all. One thing that's cool about him is very common to drop the jaw, and sort of create like this tent pole space. Back in the day, I say back in the day, not too long ago, when I was prepping for our recent album, I saw a vocal coach as well, which, yeah, sometimes your vocal coach will see a vocal coach, just like your doctor may go see a doctor. But I saw a vocal coach just to see if there was anything I could patch up, if there was anything that about my own voice that I might be missing, I might not be hearing, right? And one thing that she told me, which was really, really cool, is that you can kind of think about having tent poles between your lips, right? And that'll help you get like that nice vertical mouth shape that's so valuable for a lot of tones. He does this sort of like down and back thing with his lips. His jaw's coming down and back, and he's got kind of like almost like a Meshuggah look. I'm not sure how much that really affects it. I'm gonna play. So here's tall. Yeah, it does add some brightness to the tone as well, which I think is really, really cool. It may be a little early for me to say this, so this is just an anticipation, but it sounds like he also plays a little bit with that pressure. Not pressure, sorry, wrong word. With that sort of like pulled back, like activation. What's happening there, by the way, is the tissues above my vocal folds, the supraglottal tissues, arytenoid cartilage, aryepiglottic fold, all of this, they're coming together slightly, right? They're coming together slightly, and those are taking on a lot of the work of the distortion and the grit, right? So when I'm here, everything is super relaxed. A B C D. Everything is super relaxed. It's a really kind of old school sound, and all the tissues are sort of flopping together. There's no need for me to squeeze my throat or anything. The airflow does the work. Now, when I'm going more here, when I'm doing that, I am actually bringing those tissues together, kind of similar to what they look like in a swallow. Like if you ever see like somebody in an MRI or a scope. It's hard to see swallowing in a scope because the epiglottis closes down over everything. But these tissues kind of come together a little bit, and that activation is kind of what creates that sort of narrower type of sound. That being said, you never want to think, oh, if I'm bringing those tissues together, I'll just squeeze here really hard. I never want anybody to lead with squeezing in their throat, right? Sometimes these tissues above the vocal folds will come together with false chords or fry screams, doesn't really matter, or even just like gritty belts where it's a lot of things sort of happening together. But I never want you to think like, oh, cool, I'll squeeze my vocal folds together and that'll do the trick. Too much tension on the vocal folds mixed with too much pressure under the vocal folds, subglottal pressure, you're cruising for a bruising, right? So we should always think about being relaxed at the point of the glottis, and any sort of closure or occlusion that we need to make with our vocal style, right? Like tunnels, for example. If I'm here, if I'm there, I'm occluding. It's not the only way to do tunnels, by the way, but I'm occluding or partly closing off the vocal tract, but I'm doing it with my tongue, right? Anything that happens down here, we don't want to lead with that. We don't want to make that our steering wheel. Sleepy dad brain made me forgot the first thing I was initially going to say. So let's just pick up where we left off. But so far, great performance, no surprise. Like I said, Lamb of God and Randy, they don't miss. So here we go. Yeah, it does sound like there's variations of activation. That's kind of a tongue twister back in that pharyngeal space. And one way you could practice that, which would be really cool, is if you have like that, like whoa, 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 whoa. If you have that sound, you could try saying whoa, 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 whoa. See how it kind of helps you slowly pull a little bit higher. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's actually a really good way to sort of. Now, I know I ran through that really fast, and I realized I should probably slow that down and explain it a little bit better. So I'm going to do that for you. I'll tell you, after this, I'm taking a nap. But that wow is a really good way to sort of practice movements. And in fact, one of the best things you can do as a metal vocalist, regardless of your style, if you're doing, old school death metal, or you're doing Lamb of God, which what genre would you call Lamb of God? I've always thought that they were like, well, I mean, they've been around for so long. There's definitely like hard rock. There's definitely a little bit of thrash element. I almost hear like southern rock, but mixed with like death metalcore vocals. I don't know, but all of that, like, I feel like if I was trying to describe Lamb of God to somebody, that wouldn't do a really good job. They kind of feel like their own genre sometimes. So yeah, what genre do you think they would be? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, so let's go over that wow. Let's go over that a little bit more slowly so you can practice it at home, right? So I give you something valuable. So there are a couple of vowels that are really, really valuable to us as vocalists. One of them is ooh, right? The reason ooh is such a valuable vowel for us is because it pulls our voice forward. You can just say that at home. Ooh, ooh, right? And there are a lot of different variations of ooh that you can play around with, depending on your language, but it's all still very useful. Ooh, 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 ooh. All of these different oohs are very valuable. Learning to take that ooh while opening up the pharynx, right? Lifting up the oropharynx, right? The back of the mouth, opening up the soft palate, relaxing the base of the tongue, right? Thinking about creating open space. You could hold a softball back there. That's a really good way to learn two things at once, which is maintaining forward resonance while also opening up the back to get a nice wide resonance that gives you more of a depth of tone, right? A lot of people that I work with, especially if they're brand new, they'll go for an ooh and it sounds like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hear how that's closed? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Now I'm going to think about opening up that pharyngeal space. that the back of the mouth, right? When I say pharyngeal space, you can just think of it as the back of the mouth. Although really the pharynx is a long open space with three sections: nasopharynx, oropharynx, and hypo or laryngopharynx, right? The nose area, the mouth area, the throat area. So I'm going to open that up and you're going to hear the difference. Ooh, 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 ooh. You might be tempted to drop your larynx. Not necessary. If I open my lips, you'll hear that I'm just sitting in a nice resonant speaking voice. Ooh, 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 ah, right? Ah, good ways to feel yourself opening the larynx. Classic exercise. I really think of this more as like a calibration than an exercise, but yawning. Something I do with my students. I don't know where I learned this. This is not a Mark original exercise. I don't know where I learned this, but breathing out, and then in, oh. So if you can balance a raised soft palate and a relaxed tongue with forward resonance, that's a really good ooh, ooh, ooh. The second vowel is an ah. Now it's not ah, ah. Hear that difference? It's a little bit brighter. That's a really valuable vowel for us because first of all, there's a lot of ah in any song you're gonna do, right? Find a song without the ah vowel, and I'll be surprised. I'm sure they exist, but I feel like it'd be very hard to find. Also, there are a lot of vowels that exist between these two vowels. When you slide from one to another, you're kind of sliding between different vowel positions and vowel shapes. And if you can say ooh forward and you can say ah forward, then you can do a lot of things forward. Why is it valuable to be forward with our vowels? And when I say forward, I mean singing, speaking, screaming in such a way where the vibrations feel like they're in the front of our face, right? We feel the vibration either in our lips, our hard palate, our nose, our cheekbones, sometimes even between our eyes. That kind of varies from person to person based on the way their sinuses are shaped and things like this. But the reason that it's valuable is because to get a lot of frontal resonance, it often means that our tongue is actually out of the back of the mouth, and we're getting a lot of natural resonance in the back as well. So it creates a lot of room for all these tissues to flop around, right? To move around. So we can take these two positions, right? We can take these two positions, ooh, 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 woo, ooh, 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 ah, 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 ah. And we can move back and forth between them. Ow, right? So I'm going to do the word ow. Ow. I'm going to go slow, right? Remember, when you're moving between vowels, right? When you're articulating, you want to make sure you have a very even and steady airflow. Really important. If you don't have a steady airflow, nothing's really going to work. It's kind of like sleep, right? What part of your overall health does sleep help? Yes. What part of your voice does an even airflow help? Yes. All of it, right? So I'm going to take ah. I'm not going to say ow. I'm not going to say ow. I'm going to say ow, 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 ah, ow, 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 ow. Right? Now, once that's really comfortable, and you can do that with any vocal style, by the way, fry, false chord, doesn't matter, right? Anything in between, right? What you can then start doing is you can start thinking about sort of seesawing it. Your ooh is at the bottom, or like maybe, giving a swing to it. Let me come over here. Oh, no. Everything's flipped, y'all. Ooh is at the bottom. Ah is at the top. Ah. And it'll start helping you move into a higher type of scream with resonance before making other changes. I am a big fan. If you want to access a low scream or a high scream, I really think you should focus on resonance first, distortion second, because 9 times out of 10, much of the time, leading with resonance is the way to change your scream that requires a lot less work, right? And less work means it's easier. And I'm super lazy, so I want the easier out almost every time. Man, I gotta trim these whiskers, y'all. This is nuts. So if I kind of do that seesaw right there, it can help you sort of move. Now that movement's going to take some time, and you even heard me have to adjust, right? I was like, oh, gotta release as I'm pulling up and back, or I should say lifting up and back. Gotta release as I'm lifting up and back, and narrow again as I'm coming down and forward. But it's a really great way to practice that. One thing, let's keep playing, and then I'll keep talking. real quick aside, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it's interesting that he's actually saying vanishing, vanishing. Now, before anybody gets spicy, it's not wrong. It's just not common. Most people who would pronounce the E or the I sound when singing and screaming would say eh or ah. Vanishing, vanishing, right? That. Reason for that is it's just more of an open vocal tract. When we say E, right, the vocal tract is a little bit closed. It's a little bit occluded, right? Vanishing. Can be a little harder to mitigate pressure, or to work with pressure, I should say, and to hold on to the scream. Again, it's not wrong. It's just interesting to hear. You don't usually hear that vowel articulated in that way. Carry on.
Vanishing.
That was actually really valuable. On his father's dime, I believe were the lyrics. Listen to the way he says dime. I want you to notice, and this is a good example of what I was talking about. When he exits that scream, right? When he exits that scream, you can hear that he's not releasing any tension around the vocal folds, right? He's releasing the back of his mouth. He's letting his airflow out, but he's not. You don't hear like. You hear, whoa, me, dime, dime. You hear it more like that, right? Of course, it's him, so it sounds flipping amazing. But here we go. Amazing. Cool.
A shining path beckons me, never to be seen again. A shining path beckons me, never to be seen again. A shining path beckons me, never to be seen again. A shining path beckons me, never to be seen again.
Okay, now it's over. They totally faked me out. 100%. Cool. So, a lot of really cool things going on there at the end. One thing I like about Randy, I'll talk about two more things, and then we're already at 30 minutes, so we'll call it there. 30 minutes before editing and everything. Two other things I want to point out about Randy that I think are pretty dang impressive. The first, I'll go in line of like impressive and most impressive, to me anyway. The first is how articulate he is. Now, here's the thing. Anybody who's familiar with the channel, anybody who's taken lessons with me knows that when it comes to articulation and metal vocals, I don't think that more articulate is automatically better. Sometimes, I don't know, like a little bit of a spicy take here, but sometimes when we talk about metal vocals and somebody has to like kick down the door and be like, but can't you understand what they're saying? It kind of hits me the same way as like when I mention I like hot sauce and people are like, but does it have flavor? I only like hot sauce that has flavor. I'm so unique because I like things that taste good. It's like, chill out. So it's not that if you prefer vocals that are nice and articulate, I think you're like being cringy or whatever. It's just sometimes I think people lose the fact that if we don't create like this like weird set of camps where only super articulate screams are important, then you can enjoy more. You can enjoy music where it's less about like understanding each and every individual word and more about just experiencing the monstrous capacities that the voice has, right? And oftentimes, if the message is different, like less articulate vocals just kind of make sense with the lyrics and the theme. Now that being said, I also really admire highly articulate lyrics because it's difficult, not impossible. Anybody out there who's watching this video who has a very articulate scream, you know it's not impossible, but it's difficult to do. It's very difficult to do. And a lot of that is going to come from understanding vocal balance, right? Not squeezing too hard, not over projecting. One of the best things that you can do to get more articulate, I'm a big fan of, is just saying the letters of the alphabet. Anybody who's taken lessons with me who's watching this video is probably like, oh God, the alphabet. I never want to hear the alphabet again. Right. But we can take our scream, right?
A, A, B, C, D, E, F, J, H.
We can start walking and talking through those vowels there, and there's a reason I like it, not just because it's easy, but because when we scream or speak the vowel, we're naturally moving through a lot of sounds, right? So when I say a, that's actually that's multiple vowel sounds. A, I usually have my students say yay just to avoid a hard glottal attack. Yay, bay, say, e. See, we're already sliding back and forth. A, day. So O, L, M, N, O, O. A lot of the alphabet starts here and then moves forward, or you can choose to pronounce it that way, and that's really really valuable. From there, I think a really good thing is reading. Right now, you would probably think it'd be good to scream along to songs, and you would be right. Like you're not wrong about that, but I think that there's certain merit to be found in reading, because if we're reading, we're not going to be focused on putting on all the bells and whistles that we hear in songs, right? So, what's something I can read? I don't know. I just cleaned up my desk, so it's like all the things I use are gone. Oh, let's read the description. Let's read the description of this video. Here we go. So if I'm here, bum. Of course, there's nothing. Let's read the top comment. God, I never get disappointed listening to Randy's voice. Jeep, the amazing word up, you guys. Aiko, I agree. So if I was to read that, right, I'm not going to try to scream. I'm not going to try to do anything musical. I'm just going to try to read that in a,
Whoa! God, I never get disappointed listening to Randy's voice. Keep up the amazing work, guys.
right? I totally spat a lot there. Goodness gracious. But in screaming that and in reading that, I didn't necessarily feel like I had to keep up with a vocalist or do anything crazy that a vocalist was doing. You can do that with high vocals, my God, I never get tired listening to Randy's voice, right? You can do it multiple ways. The second thing I think is really cool about Randy's voice is his highs are super unique because, and I'm just going to say, this specific way that he's doing it, or at least the way it sounds like he's doing it, I'm not very good at. But this is where, if you want to approximate the sound a little bit easier, going with a fry scream, maybe a little bit, maybe the right choice, right? Maybe a good choice for you, I should say. But he has that same like, and he pulls it up into a high scream. Now, of course, he's releasing a little bit of that closure or a little bit of that occlusion, right? But at the same time, a lot of the time when we have this like, when we lift it up, because of, it's engaging the supraglottal tissues, right? It can cause the voice to break a little bit because things are lifting. The larynx is lifting slightly, and it's unwieldy, right? But he slides up there without any issue, right? If I was to do that, I would have to change my scream more than it sounds like he's doing. I'd have to, and you can hear that it has a different balance, right? Mine has more airflow, and it has less of that it has less of that like wide sound. It's a little bit more thin, right? So just kudos, because I think Randy's highs are kind of unmatched in their tone and their sound and everything like that. So, anyways, all of that being said, let's kind of bundle this up. One way to approach this sound, if you would like to approach this sound, there are many ways to go about it. Don't ever feel like you have to take the exact same steps that a vocalist you're listening to did. Don't ever feel like, there are many ways to cook many dishes, right? There's not one way to make a steak. There's not one way to make a really good lasagna. You know what I mean? Same with screams, right? If you hear a screamer and you're trying to follow the exact same steps that they have outlined for you, but it's just not working, you find a way that does work and it gets you pretty close. Me personally, I would call that right. I would call that correct. I would say that you did it. Some people may disagree with that, and that's fine. But honestly, my 2 rules for any vocalist are: number 1, you sound cool. Number 2, you're safe. Outside of that, I personally don't care. As long as I'm helping you reach your goals, right? Or you're reaching your own goals, path of least resistance. But anyway, if you want to do it kind of the way that I was mentioning, especially for the mids and lows, you can start off with just like a basic false chord noise.
Hey, 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 ma, he.
Or if you can throat sing,
Hey, ma.
Right? You can start there. Practice this separately, right? Oh no. Oh, I'm going to throw up. Hear how that sounds up and back? I don't feel any squeezing here. It's not. Put these 2 together.
Hey, hey, whoa, my, sway, whoa.
And that's how you can get a tone I think that would work at a karaoke event or something. Anyways, I need a nap. Well, I got to check on the little guy, and then I need a nap. But I appreciate y'all hanging out and watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to me to see the channel grow. Check us out on Patreon. I am getting really tired, so I'm just going to cut it off there. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.